Statistics have shown us that time and time again, a child born to a parent that is in prison runs a very high risk of engaging at some point in criminal activities themselves. Women are the fastest growing segment of the U.S. prison population, and the majority of women in prison are mothers. An estimated 80,000 incarcerated mothers are parents to approximately 200,000 children under the age of 18. Our objective was to see what could be done to put these children into a loving, secure, and safe environment, with the hope that by doing so, we would not only be able to provide these children with a stable home life, but also might be able to achieve breaking the cycle of what so commonly happens to these children of parents who serve time. Our Operation Open Arms families are committed to caring for these children for as long as it takes for the mother to be rehabilitated. Well, in 2001, we had a guest who at that time was the Deputy Secretary at the United States Department of Justice. And he was very concerned by the growing number of mothers in prison who had children and what was the destiny of these children. We also learned at this time that the United States is one of the highest populations as far as incarcerated people than any other industrialized nations. We thought maybe there is an opportunity there for us to serve a need and find a place where these children could be cared for in a loving, caring environment while their mothers are in prison.
Operation Open Arms is a private, nonprofit charity that provides foster care and adoption services to children whose mothers are incarcerated in prison. It provides the women with a choice to who cares for her child while she's incarcerated, as well as it provides a really good start for a child in breaking the criminal cycle.
Well, Operation Open Arms is about the kids. That's the important thing. And we think, and all the statistics show, that one, children who are brought up in a healthy, nurturing environment generally grow up to be good citizens. And the second thing we know is that unfortunately, children who grow up in an environment where there is an incarcerated member of the family tend to get incarcerated themselves sometime in their lifetime. And so it's very clear that breaking the cycle is absolutely critical.
Basically, my husband and I decided that we love parenting and we wanted to give back. And I did treatment for 20 years and would watch the children suffer. And I felt like I just wanted to do something and help one child at a time. And I feel like if the children have a good, strong foundation, then they have a good chance in life.
Our commitment to having contact with the family, with the mother, as well as being able to, on a weekly basis, visit with their child. A lot of other programs, or a lot of the women, never get to visit with their children, and our program ensures that that happens on a weekly basis.
When children are born and then taken from their mothers or abandoned by their mothers, there's a hole that's left there. And studies have proven that there's this emptiness. They keep searching and searching and may not even realize what they're searching for. And a lot of time is spent in just feeling empty and sorrowful and sad. And there are scientific terms that are applied to that, but our experience has been that these children, because they're taken into one particular home, never experience that feeling. They're loved by all of the members of the family, but the fact that we take these children once a week to visit with their mothers, they aren't longing for mom anymore.
You know that that child is not always going to be with you. So you're trying to teach him how to have survival skills so that when he does go back to his family, that if he needs those survival skills, he'll know what to do.
We are able to intervene before there's any abuse or neglect going on, so our children aren't going to suffer not just the physical things that happen with the neglect and not being fed, etc., but the emotional abuse that sometimes happens when people are struggling with poverty and lack of education and lack of a home. You know, it's real difficult to be a real positive parent when you don't know how you're going to feed your child or you don't know how you're going to get a diaper. So I think with Operation Open Arms, we're able to intervene. We make that intervention so they are not victims. They're not.
Our goal is stability. My husband and we want stability for this child, and we just hope that if this child is raised with stability from the get-go, raised to have a very strong self-esteem, to feel safe and secure, that will ultimately break that cycle that would force them into a lifestyle of insecurity and not having a strong self-worth, and maybe would lead them to the life of crime.
Well, within Operation Open Arms, these families have signed on to care for these children for as long as it takes for the mother to be really rehabilitated with the child. And you never know how long this is going to go. I mean, you can only imagine the attachment that these families have, that these parents have towards these children. But at the same time, they have to be willing to take this child to the prison, to meet with them, to stay in communication with the mother. And some mothers are rehabilitated, some mothers are not. So there's a strong commitment on the families themselves to love these children and care for them as long as it takes.
My commitment is that unless the child goes back to the mother, that child stays with us, and that we will raise that child, and if when things get hard, and they have, and if the child has particular needs that develop, we'll see those through.
Operation Open Arms is looking for families that are totally committed to the child and providing a loving, very nurturing environment to that child. We do an intensive screening job. We do a very thorough job of educating the parents as to their responsibilities, not only under the law, but in terms of enabling the child to grow and flourish. And that's really critical to what we do.
I can't imagine getting to where we are right now at the age that they are and not having had Operation Open Arms to support emotionally and just in so many ways, so many ways.
I know that these children can grow into being amazing adults one day, but you have to embrace it from the time they come home from the hospital.
You know, they're able to connect with these children, and they're helping two people. They're helping the mom who's in prison because she's not able to. She may never be able to. You hope that there's a time for rehabilitation. But they're also doing so much good for these children. So the feeling that these families within Operation Open Arms must have of the goodwill, of the outpour of love and support that they're giving. At the end of the day, when they go to bed at night, you know they can look up at the ceiling and say, yes, I'm doing something really good.
But it's very important to me to know that in some small way that those two people, they're going to touch thousands of other people in the years to come. And hopefully that I had a little bit to do with that, to make the world a little bit nicer place.